Hi everyone! So in today's English, we're going to be using singular and plural terms, but first we're going to do a bit of a vocab blast, just to recap on those words that we've been looking at in science and making sure we know exactly what they mean. So these 4 words that I have popped up on the board are spring, summer, autumn and winter. Hopefully you can now remember all of those. So I've got some sentences underneath that show the description of what you may see during these times of years, and I just want you to have a think, which season am I describing? So I will read these out to you. Okay, so the first one says, it is very cold and sometimes it snows. So it is very cold and sometimes it snows. Which season is this describing? Well done. If you said winter, that is correct. So I've got another one here. It says, the leaves are falling off the trees and they are also turning different colours. Which season is that? Well done. If you said autumn. Here I've got the weather is mild and new plants are starting to grow. Is that spring or summer? Spring, well done. And the last one, it is sunny and very hot. Hopefully you can work out that that is summer. Well done, everyone. So now in our story, Send for a Superhero, we've got to the point where we want some superheroes to come and help us get rid of filth and vacuum. And we want them to be powerful, we want them to be thoughtful, we want them to be careful so that they can help us get rid of the baddies and start putting our town back to normal. So today, I want us to have a little think about what our superheroes need in order to defeat filth and vacuum, because we tried to write to Hulk and unfortunately he's not available. So we need to ask somebody else, but we need to also kit them out with the right equipment that they need in order to get rid of filth and vacuum and to defeat him. So I've got a picture of some objects on the screen that the superheroes might need. So up here, I've got a torch. So that might be something that your superhero needs so that they can see. I've also got some rope and some strings that they might be able to tie the baddies up, maybe tie them up to a tree so that they can't escape. Down here, I've got a box. You might need a box to put some things in, or you might need a box to potentially trap your baddie in. Who knows? Here, I've got a cage. So you might need a cage to put the baddie in so that you can trap them. I've also got a net, which is another thing that you might want to catch your baddie with. Here I've got a cape and a mask, okay? So maybe some sort of disguise for your superhero or a costume for them to wear. And I've got another mask underneath. I've also got some boots, maybe because your superhero is going to be doing lots of running or catching or trying to grab people, they'll need some boots to make sure that that footwear is sturdy enough to support them. Okay, so have a little think. What do you want your superhero to have to defeat filth and vacuum? Okay, if you've got any other suggestions than what I've got up on there, then please do use those today in the next part of our lesson. So like I said before, we're going to be looking at singular and the plural terms. Okay, so let's have a look at these words. So here I've got the word superpower, and that's the singular term, but it's changing it to superpowers. Here I've got a torch, and here I've got some torches. Here I've got a hero. I'm changing it to heroes. Have a look at the ends of these words. What have I added that weren't on the original words? What have I added? So hopefully you'll have noticed that at the ends of each of these words, I've added an S or an ES, okay, as I am changing them. So if we're talking about something in its singular form, then that means single means that there is one of something, okay? So here I've got one hero, one torch, and one superpower. But if I'm changing it into its plural term, so plural means that it is more than one. Okay, and if I'm changing it to its plural term, then here I might have many superpowers, and at the end it's got an S on it, and these S's or ES's that I'm putting at the ends of my words are showing me that there are more than one object, a plural amount of objects. Okay, and we're going to explore that a little bit more today in our spellings. So to start us off with, if we have some nouns, and remember, nouns are the names of objects, okay, or people or places or things. So most nouns, what we do when we're making them plural, so that means when there are more than one of them, is we just add an S, to the end of our original word. So this word here is light. I definitely think that our superhero might need a light so that they can see. So if I wanted to say that they needed more than one light, then I would change it to the plural form and I would have light. I would add an S onto the end of it. Okay, so here we've got a light and here we've got some lights, so more than one. Here underneath, I've got another thing that my superhero might need, and that is a superpower. Okay, I don't just want my superhero to have one superpower, I want him to have more than one superpower, that plural term. So here I would change it by just adding an S onto the end of it. Okay, so most nouns we just add an S onto the original root word. However, and this is where it starts to get a little bit tricky, if a word ends in ch, sh, s, x, or z, then we add on an E and an S onto the end. Okay, so if we've got a C and a H, an S and a H, an S, double S, X, O or Z, then we add an ES onto the end. So that's the first thing on our success criteria here that we need to add. So if it ends in any of those letters, then we add an ES onto the end of it. So let's have a look. So this word here is torch, but we know that torch at the end has a C and a H. Therefore, if it ends in a C and a H, we add an ES onto the end of it if it's in its plural term. So if I wanted to say my superhero needs lots of torches, I would write torch because that is my root word, and I'd add ES onto the end. Okay, so I'll make that bigger so that you can see that. And just here, look, I've added ES to show the plural. I also said, didn't I, that my superhero might need a box to try and trap filth and vacuum. But remember, there's two baddies in this story, filth and vacuum. So they don't just need one box, they would need more than one. So they'd need its plural form. So because it ends in an X, then it would need ES if we're saying it's more than one in its plural form. So box, now we add the ES onto the end of the root word, and box becomes boxes. Well done if you're following this, because it's quite tricky today. Okay. Also, we've got some more spelling rules. So just in case you're superheroes, you want them to have any more objects. If your noun, ends in a Y, it's a bit complicated. Okay. So look here. If we look at this word, lorry, and it ends in a Y, and here there is a consonant, then we need to change it to IES. So we change lorry to lorries, and we'd remove that Y, and we'd add IES onto the end. So here, the ending that I'm adding when I'm doing it in its plural form. But key has a vowel before the Y. So because it has a vowel, we just put an S on the end. Okay. So let's have a look at some of these words and let's try and work out how we change them from the singular to the plural. So this word here is net. Okay, so it's a noun, it's an object. Does it end in T and a H? No. Does it end in a Y? No. It doesn't end in any of those others either. So I know that net in its plural form would be nets. Okay, just add an S onto the end there. Okay, let's have a look at something else. Oh, this word here, glass. Glass, right. So glass ends in a double S. Look here. Okay, so we've got a double S at the end of glass. So let me check. So if a word ends with a double S, can you remember we said we added ES onto the end of that when it's in its plural form? So glass becomes glasses. Okay, so here I've added my E and my S to the end of that because we have a double S at the end. Here I've got the word cage. Now cage ends with an E. Because of that, we just pop an S on the end of it. But torch ends in a C and a H. So look in here, ends in a C and a H, then we add an ES in its plural form. Okay, so torch in its plural form is torches. So we add an E and an S onto the end of that. Well done if you're keeping up, because this is quite challenging. So now I want you to have a little go at this activity today. So I've written down some objects I think our superheroes might need, but I've only written them in the singular form, okay? So I've only written it as if there are one of each item. So a net, a mask, a hat, a cape, a rope, a torch, a light, a box, a cage, and a boot. All right, but I want you now to have a go at changing these and writing next to them the plural form. All right, so thinking about whether we need to add ES, whether we need to add S, or whether we need to add IES onto the ends of these words. If you've done that, fantastic. I want to give you a super duper challenge, and I want you to think about what other objects you can think of that your superhero might need. Write them down in the singular form and then change them to the plural form. So for example, you might say that your superhero needs a coat because he's going out in all weathers and we don't want him to get cold. Okay, so I want you to change coat into the plural form. Have a go with this and let me know how you get on, and don't forget to send me some work across. Have fun.